Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch. With warm weather approaching, some businesses are feeling the heat.
I think sales would have been a lot better for a lot of reasons.
A downtown neighborhood gets a facelift.
What we are striving to change is to see that area, which is really in the core of the city's downtown, become vibrant.
And the TELUS World of Science announces some big changes.
Having the additional space, we can be that much more successful and offer a great deal more in programming.
NAIT NewsWatch starts right now. Good evening. Albertans have been enjoying above average temperatures and below average snowfall.
But the season's weather appears to have come with some consequences. Our Kyle Polanski joins live from our news center with more on that story.
Many businesses and recreational activities are dependent on traditional winter weather. And if the weather doesn't go as planned, many Albertans may suffer.
The right amount of snowfall is critical to many farmers across the province. The winter's moisture is depended on in spring, as the melting of the snow provides a layer of moisture for crops and plants. The margin between a good year of farming and a bad year is often measured by the winter's weather.
But right now you don't have any water, so it's not going to be soaking in, and this spring's probably going to be really hard on the hay for the farmers and their crop overall, so they'll probably be getting crop insurance this year just to cover themselves.
The average annual snowfall in the city is nearly 50 inches, but with the numbers reasonably below that, those involved in winter activities such as cross-country skiing are being forced to reschedule or relocate events.
And we usually have a really big event called the Jackrabbit Jump, which is a big festival for like 200 kids, and we had to cancel that this year. We didn't have enough snow. Also, in the winter, we usually host an Alberta Cup cross-country ski race, which is a competitive race program that's kind of held across the province. And we didn't have enough snow to run the Alberta Cup this year. We had to move the races out to Drayton Valley. So Edmonton hosted races in Drayton Valley this year.
Darcy Weiss provides workers with heavy-duty thermal wear. His sales are up, but he can't help but wonder the season that could have been.
If we'd have had a normal winter, or an Alberta winter as they would say, I think sales would have been a lot better for a lot of reasons. A lot of companies need the cold weather to do their jobs.
Weiss and other businesses who welcome the cold say a recovering economy has helped offset rising temperatures. As for Mark Boucher, if nature won't cooperate, he says he will need human intervention.
When I do get the livestock in on the spring again, I'll probably have to be trucking water for them or potentially dig a new well.
The 15 centimeters of snowfall we saw on February 25th was more than we've had all season. And with not much moisture since then, those relying on it are being left out to dry.
Kyle, are there others affected by this?
Actually, yes, they've had to cancel all winter driving courses due to the lack of snow, as well as recreational ponds and outdoor rinks being canceled for safety purposes.
Were there any times in recent memory that the weather leading into spring may have been unfavorable for some?
Actually, back in 2009, a dry start to the spring led to low production in crops, with the record high actually being set the year before.
Thanks, Kyle. That's Kyle Polanski, reporting live from our news center tonight.
This is NAIT NewsWatch.
The City of Edmonton is looking to redevelop East Downtown.
A total of 18 city blocks will be transformed over the next few years. Amanda Torok joins us from downtown. More on that story.
The transformation of Edmonton's downtown will run from 96th Street from Jasper Avenue to 103A Avenue. This area of development is commonly known as the Quarters. It used to be known as a vibrant downtown area, but over the years has gained a bad reputation for violence and drugs, and has become one of the poorest areas in Edmonton. After years of discussion and planning, City Council approved this week to invest $56 million into the redevelopment of the Quarters area in downtown Edmonton, coupled with another $200 million from the private sector. The hope is to develop this historic area to its full potential.
And what we are striving to change is to see that area, which is really in the core of the city's downtown, become vibrant and have more density.
Some of the transformations that will be made include repairing roads, improving sewer systems, and building a hotel and an apartment tower near Jasper Avenue. Additional services will also be offered, like child care centers, a city park, walkways, and a community garden.
there will be more people there of all different socioeconomic backgrounds. So we talk about people like artists living there, doctors living there, students living there.
The main goal for the quarters is to boost the residential population from 2,400 up to 20,000 people. Johnny Winnie-Andy, one long-term resident at the quarters, is eager for change.
Because I believe that we're getting so big here in Edmonton that our core needs to be a little bigger. So I would really like to see from here to City Hall to all be the Arts District every Saturday and Sunday.
The process will take a total of 15 to 20 years, and by that time, the blueprints will have turned into a reality.
Thanks, Amanda. That's Amanda Torek reporting from the quarters downtown.
A new health guide has been published in order to educate inner-city residents. Researchers from the university worked with inner-city organizations and residents to create a handbook called I'm Sick, Now What? The booklet is a detailed guide on what to expect and when to visit the various medical facilities in the city. But Dr. Catherine Dong explains that it's also about making people feel more comfortable when they visit.
It's also about opening the lines of communication, so making it okay to let your doctor know if you're going into withdrawal, or that if you're using substances. We wanted to make sure people knew that it was okay to talk about that and really important to talk about that, even if the doctor didn't necessarily ask.
The booklet also contains why various tests are needed, roles of different healthcare professionals, and proper etiquette.
5 post-secondary schools in Alberta have failed the latest Auditor General report. Grant McEwen joins Northwest College as 2 city schools have failed the report this week. The report mainly focuses on accurate and timely presentation of finances. NAIT is one of the schools in the report that received perfect ratings in all categories. Dr. Glenn Feltham explains.
It really does relate to outstanding people who have put in place systems within NAIT where there's great accountability, so that when we are preparing our financial statements, they really are best practice type statements.
NAIT joins SAIT, University of Lethbridge, and Grand Prairie College in perfect scores.
The TELUS World of Science has broken ground on a new expansion to the centre. Premier Alison Redford was on hand, as well as Mayor Stephen Mandel, to help announce the new addition. President of the TELUS World of Science, George Smith, says that the additional space will improve all hosted exhibits in the future.
Other exhibits that we've been able to secure for this community hopefully demonstrate that by having the opportunity to do more of these kind of things, having the additional space, we can be that much more successful and offer a great deal more in programming.
The new wing will cost $7 million and it will add 16,000 square feet to the current facility. It's expected to be open May of next year.
Rick Hansen was in town on Monday promoting the 25th anniversary of his Man on Motion tour.
1, 2, 3.
The tour, which started August 24th, has had over 7,000 people help Hansen carry the medal. One of those participants is Bryce Clark. After an injury in 2001 left the EPS member a quadriplegic, he praises what Hansen has done for those with spinal cord injuries.
You know, who would have thought that a high-level quadriplegic could return to work as a police officer and be as successful as what I am?
And that's just the mindset that Rick hopes to promote, as he still has big plans for the future.
And we can inspire and challenge each other to power forward faster for inclusivity and also for a cure for spinal cord injury. And I also want to continue to fulfill my aspirations to be a teacher and do it in a very unique way by encouraging the next generation to believe in themselves, to set goals, to think about what they can do to make the world healthier and more inclusive for all.
The tour is set to wrap up May 22nd in Vancouver.
Some local businesses are getting a boost from a new social media initiative. Carbon Environmental Boutique was one of the first in the city to be part of the Cash Mob. The project brings people together armed with $20 in their pocket to shop at local stores. Organizers explain why Cash Mob was created.
To support local businesses as much as possible. We want to find businesses that are helping out in the community in some way, are really giving back in some way, and really just put a spotlight on them.
To find out more, join their Facebook group or follow them on Twitter. The next Cash Mob is planned for April.
Coming up after a break, some homes in Edmonton are benefiting from a greener power source.
A house that gets its energy from the sun opens in the city.
We'll take a look at diet cleansing and if it's right for you.
Coming up after the break in sports, the Ukes are off to the men's finals in hockey. We're going to look at some high school provincials in basketball, and I'm going to try my luck at curling.
Some new energy-efficient homes are gracing an Edmonton neighborhood.
Solar power could lead to a decrease in your power bill. Sean Gray has more on the story.
The Net Zero Energy Project are 3 specially designed homes that use a system of solar modules to generate enough electricity to self-sustain the homes. After certain circumstances that left Kevin and Jeanette Taft ownership over 3 homes in the Belgravia neighborhood, they decided it was time for an upgrade.
The house would be environmentally sustainable, there would be low energy use, modest size, and eco-friendly landscaping so that the land and the water as we have it can be used to the best. Even food-producing landscaping is my hope.
Howell Mayfield Engineering is the company who is behind the solar-powered home.
Solar systems are becoming much less expensive these days, and actually, in my view, in my estimates, solar electricity will be the least cost electricity option for homeowners within 2 to 4 years.
So these small lines that you can probably barely see with the camera, those are actually conductors. Those are picking up all the electrons that are bouncing around inside each one of these cells, and they're connected to these larger ones, which they're all wired together. They carry it to these larger wires, which connect to wires coming out of the back of the module, and then depending on the type of system that you have, you're interconnecting your modules so that you're either getting a higher voltage, and then that voltage is fed into a grid-connected inverter.
If you're interested in installing solar modules in your home, contact Howell Mayhew Engineering.
So far this year, we've been getting absolutely spoiled with our weather.
That's true, and now we should check in with Will and see if we're going to keep that up.
How's it going, Will?
Hey, Nick. Well, we are going to get spoiled in the sense that we're not going to be seeing any more of that minus 30 weather that we saw this winter, but we are still going to be seeing snow, even though right now it looks like it's all gone. We're going to check out the weather now provincially, where Fort McMurray is going to be seeing a minus 7 as their low and a high of 0 with a 60% chance of snow. And we're going to move on to Jasper now, where we're going to see a minus 11 and a high of 0 with a 60% chance of snow. And we're going to be seeing Calgary with a high of 5, minus 3 as their low, and a 60% of snow. So all these 3 areas are going to be seeing snow most likely. Now we move on to the capital city of Alberta, where Edmonton's going to be sitting at a high of plus 4 and a low of minus 4 and a 40% chance of snow. So our percentage is looking pretty good actually. If we're going to check out the almanac now, in 1930 our highest record was plus 17, and in 1882 we saw a low of minus 27.
Weather brought to you by NR92.
So I guess I'm going to explain to you guys a little bit of why we're going to be seeing snow during springtime more than the wintertime. The cold weather actually can't hold moisture very well, so when we see warm weather come in and the moisture mix with it, a little gust of cold wind will make snow fall. Edmonton, don't pull out your bikinis just yet, Nick and Bart, because we're going to be seeing some snow till the end of May. July seems like the only month that we have never seen snow, so keep warm, guys.
Well, I just bought a new one, and I hope you didn't jinx us with that.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah, no problems.
Students are always looking for a fast track to getting fit.
But not keeping nutritional diet can lower their ambition and therefore their grades. Tiffany Lise has more.
Staying healthy is something a lot of students struggle with while being at school. Maintaining a healthy diet helps stay focused and keep energized. Cleansing is a form of dieting that has become popular among students. Nutritionist Karina Apselis says the effects can result in little focus and no energy, making exercise and even daily tasks difficult.
It would be very difficult to exercise while you did it because you are so poorly fueled. You require lots of carbohydrates to exercise well. It is the fuel your muscles prefer to burn, and if you're consuming very little or none at all, then you're asking your body to exercise, work with no fuel. Your car won't drive without gas, your body won't work without fuel.
Being on a cleanse usually requires substituting food for something else, most commonly a mixed drink. The mixture contains ingredients such as lemon, pepper, and a special syrup found at health food stores. Eating well and exercising regularly are key points in staying healthy and are both lacking when being on a cleanse. Some who have tried a cleanse say though it is difficult to stay with, it's worth the results.
I saw the benefits of it. I think it's something that you would probably do like maybe once a year just to clean out your system, but not something that's an everyday type of cleanse thing.
There are plenty of different kinds of cleanses available, but having the right information and the right ingredients may make all the difference. Going to see a nutritionist or a dietitian before you start your cleanse may be the smarter route to take.
Brett McNiven's here now. He joins us with sports. And I heard the NAIT men's hockey team had a huge weekend.
And March Madness has started. Have you filled in your brackets?
Yeah, just filled out my bracket last week. Feeling pretty good about it. And you're absolutely right, Nick. The Utes shocked the ACAC world against the Mount Royal Cougars. All that and more coming up in sports. The NAIT men's hockey team pulled off what some considered to be impossible against the #1 ranked Mount Royal Cougars. The Utes lost the first 2 games of the series and were facing elimination. After losing in double overtime in Game 2, the Utes rallied and won 3 games in a row to eliminate the Cougars and advance to the finals. Head coach Serge Lajoie was very impressed by his team's inner strength.
Well, I think the operative word would be belief. I think they believe that, especially after the double overtime loss, I think they proved to themselves that definitely could compete with Mount Royal.
While coming back from 2 games down certainly took a full team effort from the Utes, one thing that stood out in particular was the play of goaltender Graham Harrington. Graham Harrington started in all 3 games that the Utes won, only allowing 2 goals in the final 2 games. The goaltender is in his 4th year of school, and while he split time with Shannon Sabados in the regular season, it looks like he will be the one the coaching staff calls upon come finals. Harrington believes a lot of credit for his play goes to his teammates.
I did pretty well. I mean, the team did a great job in front of me. It made my job a lot easier, and I was able to just focus on the puck.
He performed extremely well, and it's a credit to his preparation, not only physically but mentally.
The Utes will face the Augustana Vikings in the final series. The Utes were 2-1 against the Vikings in the regular season with 1 tie. The finals are this weekend, with Game 2 going tonight in less than an hour at NAIT. Both Paul Kane Blues senior basketball teams are off to provincials in Lethbridge, and for the girls, there's a lot on the line. While the senior boys enter the tournament as the reigning city champions, the Lady Blues are coming off a disappointing loss in the city semifinals. The loss has greatly motivated the team, but the coaches feel they should focus more on having fun at provincials.
We're planning on going down to provincials and having as much fun as we possibly can and hopefully winning a few games along the road.
The girls are slated as the number 10 seed and will be pushing hard for the finals, which take place tonight. For some people, trying to pick one team out of 64 would be a challenge, but for most college basketball fans, it's a yearly tradition. Every March, the year-end basketball tournament takes place for college in the United States. It's a tournament where many fans get involved by using the playoff-style format to predict which team will try and take it all. However, picking a winner can be very tough.
My last year's bracket was horrible. That's just because I'm the type of guy who picks underdog teams and just likes to go for the long shot.
More than 40 million brackets are filled out per year in the United States. With the World Curling Championships coming to Lethbridge, I wondered what it would take to get to the top. I went down to the Avonayre Curling Club to find out for myself.
And curling is lucky in the sense that if you really like the game in 2 years, you can play at a pretty high level. Once you get the basics and if you get the touch, you're in business.
Jules Ocher has curled for more than 30 years and has coached Olympic gold medalist Kevin Martin for over 25. He passes his extensive curling knowledge onto the NAIT curling teams. The girls' team is going to nationals and is led by skip Brittany Whittemore, who has 8 years of experience under her belt.
I really like how it's kind of relaxing, but then it gets like pretty intense. And me as a skip, like I have to stay like really focused, and it's, I don't know, I find it like really relaxing, and I can just come and do it in the day, and it kind of relaxes me and takes my head off of everything else.
Now, time to learn the basics.
So there's one yellow right here, and there's a red, a red, a red, and a red. Yellow gets one.
Okay. So after meeting the pros and learning the rules, it was time to try some throws. Jules was more than happy to share his passion for the sport with me.
It's a great sport. You meet a lot of great people, do a lot of traveling, have a lot of camaraderie, especially when you go to Spiels, because you know what happens after you play. You go upstairs, and so that's the fun part.
Jules certainly opened my eyes to the world of curling, a world I recommend people get into. I'd like to thank Jules and the Avon Air Club for letting me come in and learn from them.
Brett, how did it feel to be taught by such a notable curling coach?
It was an absolutely amazing experience. Definitely something I won't be forgetting anytime soon.
Thanks, Brett. Coming up after the break, Bart and I visited the Reuse Center.
We sorted through reusable products.
This week on Entertainment, I check out 2 new exhibits at the AGA, and I even get to talk to Acres of Lions about their hot new single.
NAIT NewsWatch jackets, sponsored by JobSite Workwear.
This week, we took a closer look at one of the 3 R's.
We headed down to the Reuse Center to lend a helping hand. We aproned up and got to work sorting through the boxes that have been dropped off by city residents. Haley Horton explains what the Reuse Center is all about.
And what we do is we accept 200 items for reuse. So the City of Edmonton citizens, they donate these items, and we process them, and then we sell them back to the community.
People are charged a $5 flat rate, and they are encouraged to take as much as they want. If you'd like to volunteer, call 495-9851.
Our entertainment reporter, Christine Vu, covers the latest craze since Twilight.
She also sits down with a band whose songs have many Edmontonians singing along. All that and more coming up in entertainment.
The musical festival celebrates its 42nd anniversary as band students from all over the city gather to tune their skills. Over 90 jazz and concert bands performed in the TransAlta Arts Barns for the Alberta International Band Festival. But according to the events director, what comes next is the true highlight of events.
The performance is just to give the idea to the adjudicators what's happening with the program, and they work from that point on, and that's where the learning is going to really happen.
Students like Teresa can also agree that while performing is always fun, learning from a panel of judges is a privilege.
It's a cool experience. We get to learn more, we get another person's opinion, and yeah, I think it's really fun.
Music lovers also got a chance to see New Wind Edmontonian Symphonia as well as River City Big Band perform on Wednesday night. A Victoria-based pop rock band built a strong fan base in Edmonton after finding success on local radio charts. White Avenue's pawn shop was filled with people dancing to the Acres of Lions single Reaction. The highly addictive song currently sits in a top 10 spot in Edmonton radio, and no one is more surprised than the band themselves.
And Edmonton has been so good to us. We just kind of wrote it. We're like, yeah, this is good, it's catchy, we like it, you know, and then it just started blowing up. More and more people were playing it, more and more people are saying how much they like it, and we just can't believe how well it's done.
The band looks forward to continuing their tour across Canada as well as performing in Canadian Music Week in Toronto. The Art Gallery of Alberta's 2 newest exhibits allow people to look into our province's rich art history. Alberta Mistresses of the Modern and Art School Banff are 2 of the AGA's newest exhibits, but Art School takes you to different places in time.
The exhibition looks to trace how these different artists influenced each other, and it really just focuses on their artistic production in the late 1940s.
Mistresses of the Modern celebrates the history of women in art. It showcases pieces from 1935 to 1975.
I wanted to, show how they were in many ways so much more adventuresome. They were not as stuck in traditional ways of making art.
Both exhibits run at the Art Gallery of Alberta until June 3rd. The Citadel's newest play takes a realistic situation and throws in some surprising twists.
We also call Benjamin a snitch.
What stems from a fight on the playground between children turns into a hilarious fight between the adults involved in God of Carnage.
It is such an accurate representation of that situation, but then it starts to fray and everything starts to degenerate a bit and everything starts to get a little more testy, and the humor starts to come out that way, and then the play gets a little bit outrageous.
Our son picked up a stick and hit your son.
God of Carnage is a play originally written by a French playwright, but audiences all over the world have found humor in the story.
The play's been produced so much and translated into different languages, and that people are generally the same the world over.
God of Carnage plays in the Schachter Theater of the Citadel until April 1st. And we have 2 pairs of tickets to give away to the first 2 viewers to tweet at NAIT NewsWatch, and make sure you include the hashtag God of Carnage. And from Harry Potter to Twilight and now The Hunger Games, the latest book craze to turn into a movie hits theaters next Friday. Set in a dystopian future, a young woman makes the ultimate sacrifice to save her sister from a horrible fate.
I volunteer! I volunteer as tribute! Our tributes, Peter Malark and Katniss Everdeen.
This action-packed movie stars Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, and Liam Hemsworth.
It was decreed that each year the 12 districts of Pan Am shall offer up in tribute one young man and woman between the ages of 12 and 18 to be trained in the art of survival and to be prepared to fight to the death.
The Hunger Games is possibly the most anticipated movie of the year, and it looks like it won't disappoint when it hits theaters next Friday. Tweet at NAIT NewsWatch with the hashtag Hunger Games for your chance to win one of these awesome prize packs. And the snow is melting fast, but in this week's viral video, one little critter has fun with one of winter's favorite sports. That's all for entertainment this week. Back to Nick and Bart.
Thanks, Christine. The sights and sounds of Edmonton Spring.
The Mutard Conservatory is holding a teddy bear picnic until April 9th. Teddy Bear Picnic is an event to celebrate spring. Families are invited to an afternoon of events. These events will consist of games, scavenger hunts, music, and even give kids a chance to make their own Easter eggs. The conservatory will be displaying different kinds of flowers that are blooming for spring.
And I can't even believe that possum. I haven't even gotten to slopes, and he's been out there.
No, and he looks like he has some decent moves, too.
Yeah, he does. That's all we have tonight. Have a good night.
Good night.